Making a great movie is simply one part of the filmmaking process. There's an entire industry centred around the promotion of said films. Whilst the majority of interviews between stars and press are glorified puff pieces in which the interviewer and interviewee have a frothy, harmless exchange for 5 to 10 minutes and everything goes fine, every so often disaster strikes and a viral internet moment is made. You'll need a strong cringe reflex to withstand these agonisingly awkward interviews which deviated far from the missive of movie promotion and became something else entirely. I'm Cy for WhatCulture.com and these are 10 movie interviews that went very wrong. Number 10. Tarantino shuts down debate about movie violence. Quentin Tarantino has unsurprisingly faced much vocal criticism throughout his career over his film's frequent use of graphic violence, as built to a wince-inducing fever pitch whilst the filmmaker was on the press tour for Django Unchained. An interview with Channel 4's Krishnan Guru Murthy quickly turned snippy when Murthy asked about the film's controversies, namely Spike Lee calling it disrespectful and then asking Tarantino why he makes violent movies and whether his works could have a negative impact on viewers. At this point, a riled-up Tarantino, clearly taking exception with the line of questioning, bites back, refusing to answer questions, reminding Guru Murthy that the interview is a commercial to sell his film, and then infamously telling him, "I'm shutting your butt down." Guru Murthy continued to push for a few more minutes until finally moving on to discuss Tarantino's wider career, with the interview inexplicably ending on a relatively civil note after such an intense back and forth. Many came out in support of Tarantino for refusing to take Guru Murthy's bait and again restate a position he's made clear countless times in the past. As successfully as Tarantino defended himself though, the exchange remains painful to watch. Number 9. Samuel L. Jackson is mistaken for Lawrence Fishburne. In a 2014 interview with TV station KTLA to promote his role in the RoboCop remake, Samuel L. Jackson was asked by reporter Sam Rubin about his part in a recent Super Bowl commercial, at which point a thoroughly bemused Jackson realised that Rubin had confused him with Lawrence Fishburne. Hilariously, Jackson replied, "You're as crazy as the people on Twitter. I'm not Lawrence Fishburne. We don't all look alike. We may all be black and famous, but we don't all look alike." Jackson then went on to roast Rubin for his lack of professionalism, and when Rubin attempted to move the subject back to RoboCop, Jackson refused, continuing to mess with him for a few minutes. Ultimately, Rubin went on to call Jackson's verbal smackdown a well-deserved spanking, while acknowledging that it would surely become a viral moment for all of eternity. Almost a decade later, it certainly continued to live on, yet at least Jackson was courteous enough to clap back at Rubin in a relatively playful way, no matter how awkward the interview undeniably is. Number 8. Mark Wahlberg gets wasted on Graham Norton. Graham Norton has a reputation for being one of the most welcoming talk show hosts around, though perhaps he was a little too permissive in the case of Mark Wahlberg, who in 2013 appeared on the show to promote his new film Broken City. Marky Mark had evidently overindulged in the green room booze, as he was visibly wasted throughout the interview, regularly interrupting fellow interviewees Sarah Silverman and Michael Fassbender, cozying up with Norton, flirting with Silverman, and even appearing to fall asleep at one point. Wahlberg's appearance quickly went viral, though several months later he made the dubious claim that it was actually a pre-planned skit, saying, "I tried to do a bit, and some people took it a little too seriously." Though Norton said he didn't judge him harshly at all following the incident, he did add that he found Wahlberg's disruptive presence annoying in this instance. The lesson here: jet lag and booze are one hell of a combo. Number 7. Cara Delevingne gets sarcastic with dumb questions. In mid-2015, Cara Delevingne appeared on CBS Sacramento to promote her new film Paper Towns, only for the interview with the morning time show to nosedive in basically record time. One of the hosts got things off to a rocky start by calling her Carla and then asking if she'd actually read the book that the movie was based on, to which Delevingne sarcastically replied, "No, I've never read the book or the script actually, I kind of winged it." When the trite questions continued, so did Delevingne's visibly irritated demeanour, until one of the hosts flat out asked the actress why she didn't seem more excited about the movie and whether she was simply exhausted. One of the presenters then suggested Delevingne take a nap and maybe get a Red Bull, after which the satellite feed was terminated and the presenters continued to mock Delevingne, declaring she was in a mood. Between the communication stifling delay of the satellite feed and the presenters evidently failing to comprehend Delevingne's dryly sarcastic attitude, it was doomed from the start. Number 6. Joaquin Phoenix goes method on Letterman. In 2010, Joaquin Phoenix made an appearance on The Late Show with David Letterman, which was at best deeply bizarre, if not downright concerning. Wearing sunglasses and sporting a scraggly beard, Phoenix spent the brutal 8-minute interview mumbling short answers to Letterman's questions, while Letterman attempted to smooth things over with some cheeky jokes like, "What can you tell us about your days with the Unabomber?" Phoenix then went on to discuss his apparent retirement from acting and new career as a hip-hop artist, much to the audience's confusion, before Letterman chided him for chewing gum during the interview and ended with the hilarious sign-off, "Joaquin, I'm sorry you couldn't be here tonight." Many expressed concern that Phoenix was in the middle of a mental health crisis or drug-induced spiral, yet the actor subsequently revealed that his appearance on the show was actually a performance for Casey Affleck's secret mockumentary, I'm Still Here. In a follow-up appearance on Letterman later that year, a clean-shaven, talkative Phoenix apologised to the host for the deception, who graciously considered the original interview batting practice. Number 5. Vin Diesel creeps on a female interviewer. If you can watch this interview in its entirety without hiding behind splayed fingers, give yourself a firm pat on the back. While promoting XXX Return of Xander Cage in 2017, Vin Diesel was interviewed by Brazilian YouTuber Carol Moreira and spent a large bulk of the 11 minutes chat flirting with Moreira and explaining how attractive he thought she was. Midway through speaking with Moreira about his career, he blurts out to her, "God, you're so beautiful," before suggesting they go out for lunch together. Moreira, clearly uncomfortable, attempts to steer the interview back on topic, but Diesel can't go more than another 2 minutes without declaring his love for her, while insisting he can't carry out an interview with someone so beautiful. In case you couldn't register Moreira's thinly veiled discomforts from the interview, she made it abundantly clear in a post accompanying the video on her channel, saying, "I did not like it. At the time, I did not know how to react, but you will see that I was uncomfortable. It was not nice that he interrupted my work." This is without getting into the fact that Diesel had a partner with kids at the time of the interview, only compounding the perceived creepiness of his advances towards Moreira. Diesel, for his part, offered a perfunctory apology while posting his own phone footage of the interview in an attempt to clear the air. Number 4. Meg Ryan makes Michael Parkinson lose his cool. One of the most infamously disastrous Hollywood interviews in TV history is Megan Ryan's 2003 appearance on Parkinson, where she and host Michael Parkinson quickly established a chemistry mismatch, shall we say, and started sniping at one another. Ryan didn't appear to like Parkinson's questions about fame, while Parkinson grew visibly irritated at Ryan's curt answers. Before long, Parkinson comments that Ryan is wary of journalists, a remark she takes exception to before he adds that he can notice her discomfort from her demeanour and even the way she's sitting during the interview. Things mercifully come to a close when Parkinson asks Ryan, "If you were me, what would you do now?" And Ryan returns with the iconic retort, "Just wrap it up." And that he did. At the time of the interview, Ryan was chastised in the press for her rude behaviour, while she fired back that Parkinson had acted like a disapproving father. The tide of public opinion has steered towards Ryan in recent years though, with many pointing out that Parkinson failed to put his guest at ease or defuse the situation. Last year, Parkinson issued an apology to Ryan, stating that he was wrong for losing his temper and being pompous, even while noting that neither of them were on top form. Number 3. Tom Cruise loses it on Oprah. In terms of A-list interviews that made headlines around the globe, nothing tops Tom Cruise's unhinged appearance on The Oprah Winfrey Show in mid-2005 to promote his new film, War of the Worlds. The bulk of the interview is concerned less with his new movie than his new relationship with Katie Holmes, and an extremely excited Cruise spends most of the sit-down chat, not sitting down. Cruise repeatedly stands to his feet to pose, professes his love for Holmes, jumps up on Oprah's couch, and even grabs Oprah in an especially strange gesture. It all finally comes to an end when Cruise heads backstage and frog marches Holmes in front of the audience, who are evidently loving every second of it. The interview was widely parodied, and while ultimately a relatively harmless, if deeply odd exchange, many analysts have suggested that it played a part in negatively affecting Cruise's viability as a movie star. Tellingly, Mission Impossible 3 grossed considerably less than its predecessor the very next year, and it wasn't until the release of 2011's Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol that the star truly found his box office footing once again. Number 2. Robert Downey Jr. walks out when ambushed about his past. Channel 4's Christian Guru Murphy strikes again, this time while interviewing Robert Downey Jr. for Avengers Age of Ultron. Though the first few minutes of the interview go civilly enough, things take a nasty turn when Guru Murphy brings up a quote Downey gave to the New York Times in a 2008 interview about his prior incarceration on drugs charges. Downey had said, "You can't go from a $2,000 a night suite at the Mirage to a penitentiary and really understand it and come out a liberal." Downey briefly engaged with the question before attempting to move the interview on, though Guru Murphy continued to press the actor, prompting him to reply, "Are we promoting a movie?" As Guru Murphy refuses to return to discussing Age of Ultron, Downey grows increasingly impatient, and when a journalist brings up both his relationship with his father and his dark periods, Downey decides he's had enough and hastily exits the interview. In a conversation with Howard Stern sometime later, Downey called Guru Murphy a syphilitic parasite to clarify what he made of being put on the spot about his past. Number 1. Lars von Trier jokes about Nazis and gets banned from Cannes Film Festival. Anyone who knows much of anything about acclaimed filmmaker Lars von Trier will be aware that he's a provocateur with a twisted sense of humour who loves to court controversy. But von Trier arguably went too far while speaking to press after the Cannes Film Festival premiere of his 2011 film Melancholia. When a journalist asked him to expound on his German roots and the film's apparent Nazi aesthetic, von Trier went into an awkward, rambling story about learning that his biological father was a non-Jewish German. Von Trier went on to call himself a Nazi, that he understands and sympathises with Hitler, and in an attempt to quell the shocked audience, said he wasn't against Jews but called Israel a pain in the ass. Even when another journalist asked him a question, von Trier repeatedly wouldn't let it go. You need to only look at poor Kirsten Dunst, who was sat next to him throughout the interview, to gauge the soul-crushing level of discomfort felt by everyone in the room. And though von Trier apologised extensively for the remarks, while admitting years later that he wasn't sober during it, the Cannes Film Festival declared him persona non grata and banned him from the festival for 7 years. And that's the list. Let us know what you thought of this video down in the comments below, and if you saw any of these while they were happening, let us know how deeply uncomfortable you were. Of course, there are plenty more awkward conversations between interviewers and celebrities, so let us know your favourites down there as well. And of course, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe and hit that notification bell. I've been Si for What Culture, and have a good week.